Welcome to the Let's Talk Data podcast series presented by SAP, where we explore game-changing technology and strategies with leading experts with the goal of maximizing the value of data across your organization. If you haven't done so already, please follow or subscribe to our podcast on your favorite channel to stay tuned in.
Welcome to Let's Talk Data podcast series. My name is John, and I'll be your host today. In this session, we're joined by Crave InfoTech's Digital Transformation Architect, Shrikant, and SAP SVP and Global Head, BTP Partner Ecosystem Success, Thorsten, to learn how Crave is a leader in SAP BTP solutions. We'll explore how Crave is helping SAP customers to achieve their innovation goals using SAP BTP. Before we begin, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for joining us today, Shrikant. Can you do a quick introduction and tell me a bit about Crave InfoTech and what sorts of things you do?
Hello, John and Thorsten. Glad to be here. I'm Shrikant Nistane. So Crave InfoTech is a 15-year-old organization. We are a SAP partner. We have 3 partnerships: sell, build, and services. Our core focus is BTP. We help companies to meet their digital transformation goals and expedite their innovation path using SAP BTP technology and different pillars of the technology and S4. In addition to that, we are also a Zebra technology partner. So that's RFID, QR code, barcode, and mobile computing devices, printing, scanning. So when we come in, we basically bring the hardware, the software, and now the BTP. When I say software, means the SAP ERP and the BTP to meet their end-to-end transformation goals.
Awesome. Thorsten, can you do a quick intro and tell us a little bit about what you do at SAP here?
Yeah, sure, of course, John, and also big welcome from my side, everybody. Yeah, my name is Thorsten Leiduck. I'm leading our ecosystem activities here for the business technology platform. And, for those who are not so familiar with the term BTP, it is really a combined approach where we brought together various technologies in one unified platform, covering everything from data analytics, from integration, from app dev capabilities to help our customers to successfully innovate, and obviously work closely with partners here like Crave InfoTech, who use the platform to drive innovation to the customer, but also to help customers to automate their processes very effectively. We work with roughly 1,000 partners in this area very closely together. We cover all kind of partner types, really the large global SIs like Accenture, Deloitte, IBM, EY, PwC, but also obviously with our resellers and the regional partners in the various market units, and obviously building innovations like Crave InfoTech does is a really critical point, because at the end, the value is really being consumed through the platform, through solutions, and through defined business outcomes. And the partners play a very critical role in helping us to deliver this kind of value to our end customers.
And I know that you and Shrikant know each other. So have you worked with Crave before?
Yeah, so Shrikant and myself, I guess, we know each other for, I think I would say, early days of the platform. And Crave has been always very committed. I think they saw the opportunity at an early stage, what it means to invest into capabilities to build out BTP and how it helps to differentiate the positioning of the offerings and partner has from a service perspective to the customer and add additional value. So yes, I think it was also great to see the evolution at which it has taken. I guess I remember Shrikant from a very early stage, right, where we were talking about what is the best go-to-market model, how do we really educate even the SAP field and our customers on BTP. I think this has really come a long way today. It's really very different in dynamics. A lot of customers have business technology platform implemented, and they look for use cases and for additional innovation, which Crave InfoTech and other partners can obviously provide.
And in your opinion, from both of you, what would you say is like the biggest change that you've seen within the last 10 years in terms of what you do?
So we started around 2013-14 timeframe in cloud platform. So cloud platform was mainly a UI UX tool those days, right? So mainly using Fiori and building apps, and we got into that. And then the platform has really evolved with the HANA coming in and building different services. Now today, it's a full-fledged platform for expediting the innovation, which includes keeping your core clean. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And then extensibility, integration, build, and then digital technologies, which is what we used to do 10 years back, all mobility and UI UX. And then finally, analytics and data science. So it has become a complete the way so we are doing a lot of hands-on sessions for customer. And I think the biggest challenge today is people don't know what BTP can do. The customers don't know. They only know about one or two pillars or the functionality, but it's a really powerful tool which has evolved a long way. The another thing I would like to share is over a period of this time, SAP is always known for ERP. And then in last 10, 15 years, in a middle period, companies started utilizing with the advancement of the cloud enablement, companies started using tools for faster innovation from hyperscalers. But all of those tools are now available within BTP, and one single landscape, one organization. So I think the BTP has come a long way and a very mature and strong platform for faster innovation.
Yeah, and if I can complement this, right? As you said, Shrikant, right? We have really brought together a kind of comprehensive approach across all those technologies which we talked about, right? To help customers to set up really a modern data architecture supported by analytics and real-time insights, right? To have out-of-the-box integration capabilities, both cloud to cloud, but also cloud on-premise and obviously SAP, non-SAP. And then a very important aspect, in particular, if you think about cloud, is to be able to have an agility layer for innovations and for customization so that the core cloud application, like an ERP system or an HCX system, which runs in the cloud, is not really impacted for any modification so that the customer can keep the innovation lifecycle. So BTP is really kind of agility layer. It is also the foundation how we talk to our customers about becoming an intelligent and sustainable enterprise. And frankly, BTP is also the development platform for SAP solutions internally, which has a lot of advantages because we create a common denominator for integration across the various SAP applications. We have a semantic layer and a data fabric, which we just announced, which is called DataSphere, which really connects those solutions, but which is also able to ingest data from the outside. And from non-SAP system. And as Shrikant mentioned, the hyperscaler, while we run on their infrastructures and while we also federate data, we want to make sure that really, the business context is not being lost by moving data out of SAP. So this is very critical. And last but not least, one of the differentiating factors of the platform is that there is predefined content, right, out of the box capabilities, both for analytics, for planning scenarios, but also integration. So it's just delivering faster time to value, and partners are benefiting from this, using this platform basically to deliver the same capabilities at a lower cost to our customers with a differentiated value proposition.
And Shrikant, this one's for you. As a leader in SAP BTP solution, what would you say makes Crave stand out?
So as an organization, we started 10 years back with cloud platform, and we have kind of graduated and continue to enhance ourselves in this technology. So we understand the BTP fairly well. The second is our IP. So we have 50 plus prepackaged solutions, and some of them are fairly mature, and some we use them as an accelerator. And that helps us to demonstrate what we have and show our capabilities to the customer. So they're not looking at a PowerPoint, they're looking at something they can look at as a starting point. So that's another thing.
Right.
And third is the overall ability to deliver. So we come from a product background. The way I see is BTP is an art than a science, because if you look at ERP or S4, if I check a box in the configuration, I know how it's going to behave when I'm going to test. But that's not the scenario in everything around BTP. BTP is a lot of it is putting something together for a customer, which they could have done somewhere else. So I think the product development mindset helps us to define that clearly and also an ability to deliver that like a product for customers.
Yeah, Shrikant, I think that's really great, right? Because you really deliver more or less packaged innovation to the customer, right? So they don't need to worry, about all those steps which they would have to go through, right? So time to value is very fast. It's a proven model. It's usually also repetitive, which means there's still adoptions possible, but you have a kind of accelerator approach given that there's proven concepts which really work and solutions which work across certain industries and custom installations very well. I think the other topic which might be interesting for the audience to hear is the solutions which you basically build. They're also very easy to discover for customers on the SAP store. Yeah.
True.
Which is our kind of central landing page for the customers to really discover any partner solution. And that would be interesting just to get a bit more insights from you maybe as well and share maybe your experience, how the store has helped you, but also maybe how a customer can effectively find your solutions there. Yeah.
Sure. No, excellent. So I'll answer your question first. So there are two stores. One is the SAP App Store and second is the Industry App Store. So you can go to both of them and you can find out very specific solutions for specific areas. Also, we have listed some of our solutions on the bot store, where we have created bots using SAP process automation, build process automation. And we have seen customers reviewing that, acknowledging that, and also it's available, minimum information is available, and you can reach out to us. The second one I wanted to just add to the first question, John, is about why Crave InfoTech is we are always considered to be a Mod 2 partner because we are not a full-fledged implementation organization who can do large-scale S4 projects. But we are always considered as a Mod 2 innovative, fast response organization where we can bring in that innovation, the product development mindset, and our agility to meet your innovation goals.
Right. And Shrikant, you mentioned there's some bots in the App Store. What are some examples of bots that a customer might be able to find?
We have bot for PRPO, and we have bot where we have combined Ariba and S4 together for a complete end-to-end RFI and RFQ process. Actually, there are multiple bots in that one whole end-to-end process. There are, I think, 5 bots at different touch points. We also have examples where we did get to invoice payment process, and there are 4 different bots in that process. So there are multiple examples where people can look at how they can automate end-to-end processes, not just a specific one scenario.
Right. That's awesome. So just to recall back to what you mentioned earlier, Shrikant, we often hear the term keeping the core clean in terms of ERP. Can you share with the audience what this means?
So keeping the core clean, we learned for last 25, 30 years that use SAP for everything. And we did that. We use SAP for everything, for enhancing, developing, bolt-on. That approach kind of now creating some level of challenges for some customers who have customized solution to a greater extent. And then migration, upgradation has become a challenge. Because of that, they are not able to innovate faster. That's their first challenge. They cannot meet their innovation business needs, especially with the advancement and where we are, especially the cloud enablement, the mobility. It had just the expectation of the business has gone too far. Now, in order for them to continue and meet their internal needs, they have to find out something which they will allow them to innovate faster. And that's where this keeping core clean, because ERP has its own life cycle, its own innovation cycle. Because it's such a humongous, enormous software, it's very difficult to expect the similar level of innovation. So using ERP for its best for and utilizing the standard processes and any localization, any customization, anything which is very specific in organization, use another platform which is equally innovative, and that's the BTP. And then we look at we all know, we look at RICFW, right? Rise of objects. And then we see where there is the largest amount of value using this new innovation tool like BTP, and that comes from I's and E's. And then use the right tool and services within BTP to make that happen. So that's how we see customers are looking at core clean.
Yeah, and maybe, Shrikant, I think you described it really well, right? And I think with this process, when those customers run through those transformations, they also reduce their technical depth, right? Because as you said,
Correct.
right, in the former on-premise world, a lot of those systems were heavily customized, right? And of course, the system was highly flexible. Now with cloud, obviously, you have also different innovation cycles, right? In an on-premise ERP system, there was an upgrade every couple of years. In cloud, you ship innovations to the core applications every second week, right? So to really consume this, you can't really have a polluted system. You need to have a kind of clean setup. And with BTP, as you said, you have this agility layer, right, where the customer has flexibility to react to customer demand, the supply chain requirements, right, which we have all seen during the pandemic and thereafter, right? It's important that you can quickly change and adapt your company enterprises, and with a platform approach side by side to the core systems. This is actually how you achieve this most effectively. And BTP is the kind of underlying enabler to do this really.
True. And also utilize the standard out-of-the-box enablement packages and integration tool sets to even expedite that innovation faster.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we can talk a little bit about customer success and examples, right? Because I know you have so many great success stories, and you have received many awards from SAP along those lines from an innovation perspective and other areas. So it would be great to hear a couple of examples, or maybe a concrete case where you can illustrate, right, how BTP has helped really this company and how you have used it effectively to drive innovation.
So let me start with the process automation. So we had two large customers. One is in automotive industry. They manufacture tractors. And then there's another company which is very large mining and energy organization. Both had similar kind of challenges. So I'll talk about the tractor organization, where they wanted to automate gate to invoice process. And today it takes days for them sometimes to reconcile, because there are so many steps, manual processes, so many touch points. And we were able to help them using the process automation, so multiple bots, workflow for approval, and then using the side-by-side extensibility functionality in BTP to give them that complete end-to-end flow, and also creating different personas within their organization so that they can monitor it effectively and use SAC reports for monitoring. So that was one example. The second example is the customer wanted to automate the complete RFI process, where it starts from sending the RFI, getting the requests, analyzing them. So there were 5 bots we were able to create, and also utilizing it between two systems because they were using Ariba. And we gave them that complete flow. Typically, it used to take anywhere from 3 to 5 days. Now it happens in 10 minutes. So those are the two examples about process automation. The another one I would like to share is the integration. So this is another large organization which is in electronics consumer industry. And they had a scenario of creating basically PR and POs moving into different systems. When we looked at it, they have basically customized solution for last 15 years in their ECC. And they decided not to create any custom code in S4. So this was a really good opportunity for them to look at it closely. When they reached out to us, they had no documentation because it's gone through so many people, very limited documentation. So we put together a team who developed a methodology to look at their existing code, find out what needs to be done, what is done. And it was not just a lift and ship, but lift and transform. So we had to look at this is what is done, how we can utilize standard functionality within cloud integration or within S4, and create a solution whereby we can reduce the technical debt, use the standard functionality, and get the output. And during this whole integration layer, they had 4 hops. They have 4 hops today. So 4 different integration tools, non-SAP tools are utilized. We were able to replace 3 of them, bring them all into one integration tool, which is cloud integration in BTP. So they have reduced 3 hops, reduced the technical debt, reduced the complexity, and then brought all the customization into BTP as a side-by-side extension with multiple personas, because it's BTP, HANA, and CDS views. It's all auto-enabled for mobility. So that's a example of where we were able to help them to keep the core clean and also reduce the number of hops and bring that all into one platform, which is BTP from the integration perspective. So there's one more example I would like to share is about the extensibility. So we worked with a customer, a pizza customer, a global pizza customer, and where they are going through SAP S4 transformation. They have multiple systems, and the customer, their internal customer, didn't want it to stop and wait for S4 journey to finish. They didn't want to take the technical debt. They wanted to utilize something what they have, and then they chose SAP BTP because it aligns with their long-term strategy, integrates with S4 very well. But they wanted to have something by which the customer should not be impacted. So one single user interface, which will be developed now for non-SAP and SAP both. So we were able to utilize BTP, create that solution for credit management, whereby that solution will integrate with S4 and non-SAP system, including systems like PeopleSoft and some homegrown. And as they transition to S4, the customer has no impact. It was completely transparent for them. Complex use case, 12,000 users are using now effectively, no challenges. So these are some of the use cases we have in different areas around this.
Yeah, thank you, Shrikant. I think this is excellent, right? Because it really shows the breadth of the capabilities, right? BTP really applies to any customer in any industry, right? Everybody has, challenges to along those lines to automate their business processes, to increase the customer experience, really, right? And basically to react to customer demands, and also, as we discussed, right, to basically enable an extensibility through the platform to really deliver a clean core approach and basically reduce the technical depth. So yeah, no, this was really super interesting, and and obviously we know, right, there's many more use cases in the pipeline and many more customer scenarios out there.
Awesome. And Shrikant, are there any other ways that Crave is helping customers?
So early last year, working with SAP team, we identified that education is very important. Customers really do not know the power of BTP. So we put together hands-on sessions along with SAP, and we have done 12 of them this year throughout the country. It's literally a road show. And I'm very happy and proud to say that collectively we were able to get around 87.3% of average attendance for the people who registered. So there is a lot of excitement and people are attending them. The key advantage of these sessions is it's less theory and more practical. So people come and touch and feel. And we have seen people, after going back, they have started to utilize it. They are activating those services, starting to utilize them, and allowing them to feel. So typically, for example, if we do a build hands-on session, they come to the session, they create an application, simple application, create a workflow, and launch it onto the work zone so that they can see that whole end-to-end flow and get that feel of it.
Yeah, and I think this is really critical, right? The kind of use case discovery and innovation, and help the customers, really to show the power of the platform. I mean, what has really changed from my perspective, right? We obviously had quite some interactions with customers at various conferences and feedback, right? Likely 2 years ago, it was really a big question, right? Why BTP? Today, all the customers who have bought it, and this is more than 21,000 meanwhile, many of those are asking is how can we use it more, right? How can we scale, right? What is the limit nearly in terms of enterprise grade scale, right? And so it has the conversation has really totally shifted, and I think that's why it's so important, Shrikant, right? Because what we see is every customer who has done the first use case and has basically seen the first value which you can deliver and get out of this approach which you're driving with your innovation workshops and discovery, it automatically fueled so many additional ideas within customers and use cases, how they can optimize their processes, right? And every customer might start in a bit of a different area, more on the data side, more on the process automation side, or the extensibility side. But at the end, when we think about this vision from an intelligent enterprise, everybody should end up at the same place, right? But there are different ways how to achieve this. And I think, you do really an excellent job there in helping the customers to guide them through the journey and give them the options and the opportunities to really discover this in a meaningful way and actually then consume those solutions from a value perspective very effectively.
True. And also, it stimulates their thought process when they look at real life examples. For example, I was in a event on the West Coast, and we were talking about build. And when we showed them couple examples of use cases, suddenly the people came out and said, yeah, I think I can use this for that shop floor automation somebody requested me. It just, once they look at it, they start feeling I can use and comes up with use cases.
Okay, well, we're near the end of our time. So thank you, Shrikant and Thorsten. So is there anything you'd like to leave the audience with? I'll start with you, Shrikant.
So now the keeping core clean is the need of the hour and an opportunity while transitioning to S4. Customers does have to look beyond SAP for innovating faster, using BTP for integration, extensibility, analytics, and low code, no code. Customers can keep core clean and achieve their goals for expediting innovation using BTP. And I can say BTP is real.
Awesome. And Thorsten, what would you like to leave the audience with?
Yeah, I hope this session was inspiring. And then obviously, I think Shrikant did an excellent job just in laying out all the capabilities in BTP and how can be used. I think there's, obviously, I think it's really important to understand, right? If you are on a journey, you need to, and if you want to react to customer requirements effectively, and if you move to the cloud, you need to have a strategy in place how to achieve this, right? And as I said, you can start in different places, but at the end, you need to look at what is the data platform. You need to have clean data to basically really be able to innovate effectively, to drive clean core. You need have naturally integration capabilities, and you want to optimize your processes over time. So all those kind of things are important, and you can get them. As I said, BTP helps you to basically enable all those capability in one out of one single, if you will, platform. And I would just suggest we have a Discovery Center. So if you're not familiar with BTP, you should maybe look up the Discovery Center. It's a really great way of getting familiar with BTP. There are also a lot of missions out there in terms of what you can do and kind of the first exercise, if you will, and partner solutions or partner missions are up there as well to achieve basically the first kind of little project and get a kind of idea how it can help you to basically become much more effective and basically do the first step into the cloud, into becoming an intelligent enterprise. The other asset and the other call to action is really, I think the SAP store is a great way to discover and get ideas of what is really out there, right? There's likely more than 2,000 solutions up there which you can find, which are just an inspiration for you, right? This doesn't mean you have always to deploy exactly the same solutions, but you get a great idea of the innovation power. And this is why we're so excited about the ecosystem, because all the innovation which is up there, SAP itself, while we obviously focus on our core products and deliver innovation every time, but the breadth of the innovation and the volume of innovation, we would never be able to deliver with our partners like Shrikant here and Crave InfoTech, because this is really what a multiplier is and where the customers then really have the opportunity just to basically consume this already in a packaged way.
Awesome. Well, thank you for listening to this podcast. Learn more about Crave and SAP with the links in the description. If you've enjoyed this podcast, then please check out the rest of the Let's Talk Data series. See you next time.
We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Check out the show notes for additional links to information. And please subscribe or follow to join us on the next episode of Let's Talk Data presented by SAP.